Greetings, readers and friends. Harvey Michaels here. I'm thrilled to welcome you to our adventure into Danshui President Plunge, Book 1, Evacuate or Pay. It was an electrifying story to write, and I can't wait to share some with you today. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Your support means the world to me. Thank you kindly. Okay, here we go. Chapter 3, Xintian, New Taipei. Neither of the thugs took off their ski masks, so no one could identify their faces. That gives the two knowing wives of policemen hope they will get through this. They have time to think about it now. The two smallish, thin men are lounging in the living room watching TV weather reports. All three women's legs are duct-taped to the Gao's heavy teak dining chairs. Their mouths are covered and their forearms are held to the tabletop with long strips of the silver tape. Gao Meiling and family live with her mother in her mother's well-kept 4-story house, one of 4 units built adjoining, sharing a small yard in the Xintian district of New Taipei City. It is a somewhat larger piece of land, all walled off from the street, backed up to surrounding hills. If not for her mother's home, Brenda Gao, now Mrs. Brenda Ping, and her young family, would have to live within their means and stay in a small apartment. Her mother's house is a perfect place for raising small children. It is also a perfect place during a typhoon for these criminals to scale the front wall and easily ensnare the grandmother, mother, and 2 children. Brenda's husband, Theo Ping, is billionaire Wang Sanbao's driver. The front door is heavy steel, but the back is not. They already scaled the wall once before last week on a rainy afternoon. Using a waterproof smartphone on a selfie stick shoved out from around the building's back corner, they peeked unseen, long enough to calculate how they would get in. At 11 o'clock, 2 ski-masked men with black revolvers and black backpacks stepped right up to the backsliding glass window outside the dining area next to the kitchen. They pointed their guns at the mother and grandmother sitting at the table watching a Korean drama coming from a flat-screen TV on the wall. One man barked, "Open this door or I will shoot you now." The other man reached out, tried, and pulled the unlocked sliding door open. They pushed the women into the front dining room area and roughly duct-taped the grandmother to her chair. Then one man took out 2 small bottles of chocolate milk, one marked with a plus sign. The containers were still cold. He shook them up and removed the plastic lids. There were small puncture marks on the foil seal tops where drugs were injected into the sweet drinks. The man leaned next to Brenda's face and growled through unseen cigarette-stained teeth and bad breath. He told her the milk would knock her children out, no more, but whether they would wake up to a dead mother and grandmother depended on her cooperation. "I will watch from the door. Here's what you are going to say." She and her little brother seldom drank the treat. "These are for you," smiled the mother through wet eyes. "Really? Too great!" they exclaimed and grabbed at the small bottles, straws already inserted. She gave them each a bottle, making sure to give the bottle with the plus mark on it to her bigger daughter. They guzzled them at once. They drank looking face to face at each other with big happy eyes. "Now stay in here, please, until I call you for lunch. Say yes, Mommy. Yes, Mommy." The man watched from a crack in the door as they greedily finished the small bottles. They went back to their Legos and cheerful music playing from a laptop, and the man followed Brenda Ping to the table and taped her up. Then they all waited silently for the bodyguard's wife. Ruth's friendly voice had sounded pleasant over the speakerphone. Sure, I can come over. Do you want me to bring some oranges from our tree? We have a lot. Brenda stared at the slowly moving gun held a few inches from her cheek and controlled her voice as best she could, coughing first. No, we have a lot of fruit already, thank you. Just you come yourself. I know the typhoon is blowing, but we live so close together and the children are asleep, so say no more. I won't be long, Brenda. And Ruth hung up. She told her younger daughter where she would be, showed her what was ready for lunch in case she was delayed, and headed out into the blowing storm and the waiting trap. A tinny sounding speaker by the front door came to life. Hi, it's me. I parked in front of your gate. I hope that's okay today. Ruth knew Brenda's mother might get annoyed. The only answer was the buzz of the large metal door in the front sidewalk wall. It opened and quivered in the lessened wind, now replaced by heavy rain. Ruth knowingly wore a hooded raincoat rather than carry an umbrella, which could be blown apart today. Hey! She raised her voice at the powerful hand that roughly grabbed her and pulled her all the way inside as soon as she took a step through the cracked open front door. Look real good at this gun here. I will use it and kill you. Kill you three and then those children in the back. The man kept talking. He had one eye that never stopped twitching. He ignored the involuntary sound Ruth made in answer. Not words, but an animal-sounding protest moan or growl came from her. We're going over to your friends now, the twitching gunman said. He yanked her raincoat off and pushed her into the third heavy chair. Brenda Ping and her mother were heavily taped to the chairs by waists and thighs. Besides the tape around their heads, over their mouths, their extended forearms were taped to the table as well, with long strips of duct tape. Taping their reached-out forearms with many long strips of tape from their wrists almost to their elbows had the effect of bending them downward in their chairs, straining their posture forward. Their hands were not taped, and the reason was all too apparent. A shining new pair of hooked gardening shears sat next to grandmother's left hand. As Ruth submitted to being taped to the chair, the second man took a large butcher knife from his bag. He viciously stabbed downward into the expensive teak table and left it there wobbling suggestively in the air. Then that man leaned on the table with the gun pointed at Ruth's head and cleared his throat. He was strangely calm, which was chilling. He controlled his throaty, monotone words, got straight to the point. Your men are ours. We will all talk soon. D. Our girls, the twins, called last night, cheering Evie and me and asking me for a favor. I would do anything for them. They are dear family friends and more. They rescued me from a dark time in my life, my sweet angels, just when I needed, not so long ago. Uncle D, we have to. Big Sister Trudy, as usual, spoke first. Mandy echoed from Trudy's side, have to. Trudy continued, come over tomorrow morning and make 4 dozens of cookies very fast. So fast, Mandy echoed. They made me happy so fast. Hi, Trudy. Hi, Mandy. 4 dozen cookies, not 4 dozens of cookies. How's it going? Evie and I both laughed our greetings on speakerphone. It's so late, Trudy. We're sorry, Mandy. But they tricked us, Trudy chirped. It was a setup, an ambush, Uncle D. Mandy. What time tomorrow morning? I asked, looking at Evie. Both of us sat up, and our eyes twinkled from the gaiety contagion these fire plugs always give off. That's the thing, Trudy. We have to go to our first class, Mandy. We only have permission to miss PE the second class, Trudy. But there's a short recess after that class. But that's still only an hour minus our time on the scooter, Mandy says. Why don't you buy some cookies? There's still time tonight, I suggested before Evie said it. Uncle D, we talked up best bet cookies, Trudy. The ones less sweet and so incredible, Mandy. Okay, listen, I'll bake them and you just meet me at your school gate. No, we have to do it ourselves. We kind of bragged we can make them, Trudy. And we have to take pictures, Mandy. You know you'll owe me for this. I was more than willing to help them. I would gladly make them, deliver them anywhere, on the spot. Our families have always been close, next-door neighbors for the twins' first year. Then 8 years ago, emotional support angels. My devotion to the pair sealed forever. Okay, sure, anything, you name it. They spilled the words out together. I spoke slowly, enjoying the time with Evie and them. You know what I want. Slow on the scooter, good grades, and the drawn-out mock negotiation got the four of us laughing. Hugs, right? In stereo. I give my wife credit for the healthy big hit Best Bet cookies. Evie always had only one comment when I followed cookie recipes. They're too sweet. Can't you just add less sugar? I got annoyed sometimes at the suggestion, especially when we're talking about holy ground like my mother's carrot cake. Anyway, Evie was right, and awesome, and modest, and Best Bet cookies were born. We use coconut oil and butter, almond flour, half the white and brown sugar replaced with ground peanuts or ground almonds, shredded coconut, and other goodies aplenty. We make double batches and freeze logs of cookie dough in plastic bags for baking and mailing to our sons' college dorms. I buzz the first floor on the intercom to tell them the twins are coming. While packing an overnight bag for Taipei, the phone rings. Expecting Evie's call, I pull the house phone from my pocket before it can go to the ancient answering machine. I can pack and talk on the speaker at the same time. Multitasking is possible. The kids were upset sports day was almost canceled. They didn't want to be in class today. Evie sounds understandably distracted. I picture her wiping her nearly shoulder-length hair off her forehead and putting one hand on her hip. What's up? They gave me your message. You up to something? Problem with the cookies? No, nothing like that. I hesitate, and am sure she is now tuned in. I'm going to Taipei to see Teddy and Bear. Willie and I are leaving around 1. Is this like something from the Lord? An assignment? Her voice tunes down, even worried and vulnerable. There is the sing-song kindness I fell in love with 30 years ago. Yes, I am to hang out at Teddy's some. Also, Willie and I are supposed to go together. Something about Psalm 23 is big, and red leaves falling around me and on the ground. Neither of us speaks for a minute. Our pause is not for permission. She knows I wasn't asking for that. She senses it and sighs, to me a most beautiful sound in the world. So you're fasting? Yes, don't worry, I feel good. You always get like high when you fast, but watch out for your quick mouth when your blood sugar goes low, honey. The voice of experience. Maybe you should skip buying fruit this time. No, Teddy needs it, I think. I chuckle. Thanks for the reminder, Evie. I love you. I love you too. I'll call you later. In an oddly different, firmer tone, she says, say hi to Willie. Maybe she means to tell Willie she's expecting him to be responsible driving today, or she and Willie are up to something, or she has peace and she doesn't want to show her awareness of the super typhoon we are deliberately entering, or I'm reading too much into it. The socks are frozen where they were in my hand when the call began. So much for multitasking. 2 piles, one to wear, one to bag up, tossing in extra socks and underwear in with another pair of loose jeans and a quick-dry shirt. The jeans are too warm for Taichung, but Taipei will be cooler. Samson's on the living room balcony, sunning in Taichung's idyllic weather mockery of the typhoon. 3 decades in Taichung, I've seen dozens of sunny days when typhoons were blasting somewhere else in Taiwan, north or south or east. Just 50 miles away to the east, half the typhoons strike and are vicious. But even the biggest typhoons can't get over Taiwan's north to south spine of high mountains. To hit Taichung, they have to come down from the north or up from the south. I don't need to call a dog. Gimpy Samson has trouble walking sometimes, but he's still a dachshund. His nose brings him to breakfast. Downstairs buzzes for me. The 2 girls are on their way up. I already cracked the door open, and they fly in, skillfully leaving their shoes at the door and putting on slippers from the pairs stacked just inside the door. Trudy and Mandy's faces have changed, lengthened and broadened at the cheeks, flowering like blossoms. No makeup on their faces, no special hairstyle, and very pretty, with a natural glow. They have matured a lot, but are still the most fun people around, them and our youngest, Petey. I have a thing when the time is right, a silly family time. I do laughs. I go through 25 quickly. Each laugh has a name. There is the teppanyaki, spatula on grill laugh, slops, clops, king kong. Asthma laugh, versions 1, 2, and 3, foghorn blast 1 and 2, snort laugh 1, 2, and 3, lip raspberry laugh 1, 2, and 3, and others. But I never imitate my favorite laugh, the twins' laugh, more or less unchanged since after kindergarten age. These girls' laughs are nothing short of legendary, erupting, unexpected. It is always entertaining and contagious. Both sisters will howl, squawk, bellow, and shake with open mouths as wide open as they can. Imagine a dentist saying, "No, wider still." Trudy and Mandy are calm girls, not the type to always be smiling, but even a grin from them will get others chuckling at the hope of the twins really letting loose with a laughing spell. Other people laughing won't always get the girls going, but either of them laughing will set off the other, and then there is no telling how long everyone within hearing distance will join helplessly in a flash mob spontaneous belly laugh-a-thon. When Trudy laughs, she looks straight up with a face that shines a gleeful light. She does a drum roll with her fists on the very top of her chest at her collarbone, and her back bounces and twists. Mandy looks downward and rocks her neck from one side to one side while she bends and unbends at the waist from the convulsions coming out of her midsection, and her open hands lightly hit each other in front of her face. I have met many who witnessed the twins laughing and tried unsuccessfully to imitate them. We quickly half-hug and turn to the kitchen. 4 extra-large cake pans are stacked on the stovetop. I open the oven and check the hanging thermometer. 1 pan has parchment paper laid down already. Let's make cookies. I open the refrigerator and grab one of the defrosted, wrapped logs of cookie dough. The girls are excited to see Samson, who just finished his breakfast and is emerging from the kitchen balcony. His toenails clatter on the sliding door metal runner as he step-trips over it. The twins have known our dog his whole life. Since before they can remember, Samson's always been there, but they haven't witnessed his declining health in the last couple of months. Trudy and Mandy see how feeble he is, how slowly he moves, eyes now glassy with knowing tears. The sisters cautiously bend to pet him and quietly say affectionate words to him. They ignore the Samson smell, too. Even though he had a bath just yesterday, he already smells funky. Okay, now you really need to wash your hands. I motioned to the empty sink and put a clean dish towel on the counter for them. Samson slowly ambles over to his bed, more like a chameleon than a dachshund. He's snort-blowing air from his nose to say something, as he does to me when we're alone. I believe it's to the twins. Watch out! This ceramic knife is scary sharp. The bottom corner will cut you like a surgeon's scalpel as easy as the tip, I say, pointing to both spots on the knife. Mandy takes a flash picture at Trudy now posing before I even noticed Mandy taking out her smartphone. It's the first of many how-to pictures and selfies the girls take to document the event. I coach them through louder where harm lurked. Slow down around the open oven, please. If you touch skin on any small piece of the oven, the pan or the rack, it'll burn you and it will hurt. We know, Trudy. You always say this, Mandy. Okay, but you girls didn't bake here for a while. Okay, here I go, Trudy said to Mandy. Uncle D, would you step back out of the picture, please? Mandy. Cooling racks and paper-toweled platters are on our old oak dining table, with so many writing marks etched into its surface. I smile at the notion of these engravings. Besides our sons and Evie and I, some marks were probably made by the twins writing long ago homework assignments. I know my dad's firm writing marks are there from his visits. So are Willie's and even Pie Face's. None of Wanda's are, but at least a wedding picture of her and Pie Face is nearby on the piano. Around the frame is etched, "The first time ever I saw your face." Uncle D, you're spacing out, they shout in stereo, and then burst out in their renowned explosive and irresistible laughter. My tearing eyes and I join in until I finally am spent and reach for tissues. You need 50 cookies, right? 4 dozen, Mandy corrects me. 50, right, Trudy says, licking her lips and pointing to herself and her sister, trying unsuccessfully to appear mischievous. For a second, it looked like they would erupt again, but the moment passes, and they start checking their pictures again, deleting many. I am glad they keep looking at their watches, because I have much to do before Willie comes. The kitchen is filled with the peanut oatmeal smell of the baking cookies as cooked and uncooked double-pan batches trade places in the oven. Watch out, the pan's still hot. You're the best, Uncle D, Trudy. We're only missing 1 class, Mandy. I fling kisses from 2 fingers at them, and they duck, but then catch them and place them dramatically on their cheeks, our old shtick. I'll be a few minutes in the bathroom, but I'll be back in time for the next ones. I didn't say what I was going to do, but with my sons, I would have added time for a 4-minute shave, shampoo, shower, which I tout, hoping, so far without success, the boys would catch on to. Now move the cookies on the cooling rack onto the paper towels on the big plates. I point to where I mean. I am out in different clothes, shaved with combed wet hair. The girls look at me, amazed. You just showered? Trudy. And shaved? Mandy. And shampooed, I add. Wide-eyed, smiling mouths agape. Why didn't I have daughters? So what do you want to put your 50 cookies in? They just look at me. Okay, hey, let's see what's up here. Over the sink is our museum of plastic and glass containers, measuring cups, and doodads. I grab a long, flat, decades-old Tupperware. This will hold more than enough, but make sure you get it back to Aunt Evie. It was a wedding present. Oh, no, not that one, Trudy. We couldn't take that, Mandy. There's no time to argue. I know you'll get it back. I turn to look directly at them. With the lid. I give them another look to punctuate my meaning just as the timer goes off. The second batch is baked. Wait, don't open it until you're ready. Our pot holders are floppy and... We got this, Trudy. Don't worry, Uncle D. Mandy. They have crumbs on their lips and the corners of their mouths. Their chewing expressions say the cookies turned out okay. Just a second, I blurt out and go to get 2 baggies and shove more cookies in them and into the big cookie container bag while we are all moving to the front door. Okay, you gotta go. Give me a kiss. They exaggerate repulsion. Okay, a hug then. They lean further back, then they laugh. You should see yourself, Trudy. You believed us, Uncle D? Mandy. Both of them rush up and hug me at the same time and plant kisses on my cheeks. You two go down in the elevator first. Samson and I will go down in a minute. Bye-bye. Go slow on the scooter. I force a stern look. They skip out the door, my precious angels taking flight again. As clearly as in a mirror, I remember them 8 years ago, leaving after visiting me. They came to hang out many times in my worst days of burn recovery. They spent hours with me and would ceaselessly tell me every little thing in their lives, read their latest books to me, and ignore the tears that streamed down my face. I believe I remember every goodbye at this door with my girls. This reminds me, I haven't called Teddy. 9 years ago we met, and 8 years ago everyone's life shattered. That was when Teddy literally saved my life. He says I saved him, but that's a different story. Teddy picked up the pieces after the events 8 years ago as best he could and moved to Taipei. His reluctant, not yet ex-wife and a traumatized son nicknamed Bear moved with him. Bear is now a healed and thriving 16-year-old, handsome as expected, with a good-looking father and a ravishing, if deeply troubled, mother. Teddy, it's Dee. I'm coming to see you. But the typhoon, he exclaims and fades in a voice filled with emotions I cannot decipher. I have to come and see you, Teddy, today. Thank you. But how did you know we're having problems? Don't thank me, Teddy. It's an assignment from my boss. It's going to be so dangerous driving, Dee. His voice fades quiet again. Willie will drive me to Taipei, then I'll drop him off and come to your place with his truck. We'll be careful, Teddy. I gotta go finish getting ready now. I'll call you when I'm almost there. Samson and I converse as we return from downstairs. He has turned into a real talker. He lightly sneezes and blows air out of his age-whitened nose. At first, I was amused by this development and started making the same sounds to him. We would snort back and forth like you might take turns barking with the neighbor's dog. Nowadays, I talk, and he snorts back. My favorite thing is how he always slowly makes his way to my office door after he finishes his breakfast or dinner. He snorts and sneezes at me from the doorway before returning to his bed. What is he saying? Maybe, thanks, and how about some more chicken next time, Daddy? I am Daddy to Samson. Davy is big brother. Petey is little brother, but Evie is not Mommy. She's Ma'am Evie. No way I'm Mommy to that dog. We keep thinking the next cold spell will be the end of Samson, but he keeps surprising us, interacting more too, outliving our expectations. Willie will be here any time now. I throw the parchment paper away from the pans and put the pans and cooling trays in the back balcony sink. I can wash them in a few days or in a minute if Willie's late, which I doubt. The intercom buzzes while I'm putting the last cookies into a container and into the refrigerator. The pans outside would have to wait, and I think, sorry, Evie. That's it for today. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed the reading this time. Please leave a comment if you did. What did you think? Remember, sharing is caring, so please do tell a friend who would like to join us here. If you are enjoying the journey, I'd be so grateful if you would be a supporter and pick up a copy of Danshui President Plunge on Amazon and leave a review. Until next time, take care. I look forward to seeing you here again. See you then.